Masahiro Sakurai is one of the most well-known game designers in the industry, making masterpieces like the Kirby and Smash Bros. Franchises. Alongside this, he recently started up a YouTube channel where he discusses various topics relating to game development in the hopes to make games more fun. One of his videos showcases his creative works throughout the years. However, while watching it, I noticed a game was missing from the list. It's a game that is often forgotten about due to the nature of it, and it can almost be considered lost media. So, what exactly is this game? To begin explaining it, let's go all the way back to the year 2010. In 2010, a game known as WarioWare d.i.y released. Basically, this was a game for the Nintendo DS that allowed you to make your own games. This game was probably one of my earliest exposures to game development, and it had so much in it. It had full-on lessons teaching you things like variables and flags, it had a full-on DAW in it allowing you to make your own songs, it had a robust sprite editor, and a lot more. Alongside this, since the DS had Wi-Fi connectivity, you could basically share your games to the world and download other ones as well. This was really revolutionary at the time. Having a robust game development platform that you could take with you on the go was unheard of during that period. And honestly, in comparison to something like Game Builder Garage, this game easily takes the crown for being the best game development game out there. To help promote the game, on the Nintendo channel, which was basically YouTube but for Nintendo strictly, there was a series of videos known as Developer Made It 2. Basically, Nintendo had big-name developers such as Yoshio Sakamoto and Edmund McMillan use WarioWare d.i.y to make their own microgame as promotion for the newly released game. Alongside this, Sakurai himself starred in an episode and designed a microgame. In his showcase video, we get to see something quite rare. We actually get to see him make this game while he gives some insightful commentary about what he's doing. As stated by him as well, this is technically the first game created by Project Sora. Basically, when Sakurai decided to go independent under his own company, Sora Ltd. So, he does count this as an actual game. This game ended up being called Line Slash, and it was a surprisingly robust game. Basically, there were 4 different items that you had to slash. However, you had to be careful with the bomb because you only wanted to cut the fuse on it. So basically, this game was Fruit Ninja before Fruit Ninja existed. Back when the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection was a thing, you could easily download this game and add it to your collection. However, that is of course dead, so you can't really get this game easily. Luckily, I had this game saved on my cartridge from way back then, meaning I could play it whenever I wanted. However, I bet there are a ton of people who don't have access to this game or WarioWare d.i.y, or even know of this game in the first place. So, I did what any sane person would do and ported this game to PC for preservation and awareness. First up, I had to actually extract the data from my cartridge somehow. Luckily, I have a 3DS with custom firmware on it, so I used something called God Mode 9i to dump the game. Using this application, it produced 2 files, a .nds file, which is the actual game, and a .sav file, which is just the game save file. Next up, I had to actually extract the microgame files out, and to do so, I used 2 tools, one called Mio Tool and one called Krygor Tool. Mio Tool is a tool that allows you to open up your save file and extract a .mio file, which basically holds all the details to the microgame. Next up, I opened this file inside Krygor Tool, where I was able to extract all of the sprites and the actual song used in the game. So, now that I had the raw files myself, it was time to actually port over the game. For starters, I wanted this game to be as accurate as possible to the original one on the DS, and the best part about WarioWare d.i.y is that you can literally view the source code to any game. So basically, I spent a bit of time and documented each object and what events it had. I wanted this game to feel as one-to-one as possible, so I tried my best to match each event closely. First up was Sakurai's robust system to actually make random objects spawn. So, for this game, there are 4 different objects that could be placed within the main frame. A watermelon, a peach, a bomb, and a Tengu mask. The way this was determined on the DS was by using 2 flag objects. At the start of the game, these would basically be placed randomly at the bottom of the screen, and depending if it overlapped a certain area, it would turn the flag on or leave it off. These flags would determine which of the 4 objects would spawn. This was quite cool to see because having the objects just be random was not as simple to do within WarioWare d.i.y. So, basically Sakurai improvised and figured out a way to have this happen. Next up, I basically had to add the main slicing mechanic. Each of the objects had its own slice sprite, and these were quite easy to implement. Basically, once you tap the screen, if it's overlapping the line, the sprite changes to the sliced one. and the objects move in a certain area. To determine if you won or lost, Sakurai used two objects known as judge objects. Basically, Judge 1 would determine if you won the game, and Judge 2 would determine if you lost the game. While it would be easier to just, say, use some values in another object, I wanted this remake to be as accurate as possible, so I stuck with Sakurai's judge objects. After this, I went ahead and added the win and lose conditions. I went ahead and manually recreated the confetti effect for winning, since that's what Sakurai used as well. For the music, I was able to extract the exact MIDI used in the DS version. So, I simply updated the samples to be of higher quality, and for comparison, here's both of them playing. After adding all of that in, I added a few final things to make this game feel more suitable for a longer play session. I specifically went ahead and made a simple title screen and high score system, so now you can challenge yourself or your friends to a classic game of Line Slash. Finally, I went ahead and created both a browser build and an Android build, that way you can play this on pretty much any device, except Apple because they like to be special and difficult. But anyways, that is the story of Line Slash, Masahiro Sakurai's most forgotten game, and how I managed to recover and port it. If you want to play this game for yourselves, there's of course a link in the description to the game's itch.io page. Check it out and let me know what your high score is. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. And if you have any interest in any of my other games, be sure to go check those out as well. As always, thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.